Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome on to Branded. This is the podcast that takes you behind the scenes and beyond the brand to give you the clarity and confidence to challenge the status quo and show the fuck up in your own life. I am so super pumped to bring you Anna Henry today. Anna and I go way back. Thank you so much for being here, Anna. Like, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, this is really, really a fun episode for me.
Well, thanks for having me, Sarah. I'm super excited to be here.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about Anna, and then we're going to dive in to get to know her and just talk a little bit about stepping into the fear, listening to your intuition. Like, these are conversations her and I had in Messenger constantly when we were coaching together. But Anna is a mom, she's a wife, she's a nurse, and she's also an entrepreneur. So when you're looking at a busy woman, like, she's it. And she's making it all happen, right? So while she's balancing this busy home life, she's also building multiple businesses online, like more than one business she's building online, utilizing social media. So tapping into what she's doing and really seeing how she leads by example. If anybody out there is looking to build businesses, Anna's your go-to girl. And today I want to focus on kind of what that feels like and looks like when it comes to stepping into those fearful moments and those moments that you know are going to kind of make or break the next moves you make in your life, but then trusting your intuition and your instincts, and then in turn showing the fuck up. Like, that's the whole point of this podcast, right? So Anna and I met a couple years ago, and we were in a coaching program together where I was mentoring her. And then as we sort of grew and evolved into our own businesses, I have been just so in awe of what Anna's been able to accomplish and really step into, like, really aligned business for herself. And I'm just really honored to have you here. So to kick us off, take us behind the scenes a little bit. Let's like rewind the tape and let's take a look at what life looked like for you before you decided to get into building these online businesses.
Absolutely. So, what better place to start than the beginning, right? so,
Exactly.
I was working 60 plus hours a week. Rewind a little bit further than that, like COVID hit. My husband we decided as a couple that he was going to stay home full time with our daughter. And excuse me. And so I picked up extra hours at work. I was working 60 plus hours a week. I was feeling a little burnt out, honestly. And I just had this like tug inside of me. Like, there is more out there. Like this calling, like, you got to find your purpose, girl. Like, what's your purpose? What are you got to have more than just work and your kids. You need something for yourself, And so after like 6 to 8 months of just really debating on, taking the plunge and starting a new business, I went for it. I, signed on with a direct sales company, pharmacy. I fell in love with their makeup, and I just went feet first and dove into this opportunity where I found my journey of self-discovery began. And there was a lot of healing. There was a lot of tears, all those things along the way, right? But I took that chance on myself. And if I didn't have that like pull, the inside of me saying like, okay, what's there's something more out there than just being a mom and being a wife and going to work. I was able to cut my hours nearly in half after
Wow.
signing up with my business and just learning as I went and making mistakes and all the things. It was just incredible how that first year, or even several months in the entrepreneur world really transformed my confidence, my ability to communicate, my whole life. It just really elevated my whole life.
Yeah, I can attest to that because I felt the same way. And even though I am not still partnered with the same MLM company that I started this journey with, I will forever be grateful that it was part of my story, because it got me to right here, right now, doing this with you, right? And so I feel like, that was something that you and I connected so strongly about, like when we first met. And I was actually thinking as I was falling asleep last night, I was like, I wonder, how did Anna actually find me? Like, do you remember how you ever even came across me?
I don't remember exactly, but I know that I had invited you into my group where I ran my business. And once we had kind of connected in Messenger, I think a year later, after
Mhm.
you had joined my group, um, I was like, oh my gosh, I just noticed like it tells you how long somebody's been in your group. I was like, oh my gosh, she's been in my group for a year. We're just now chatting.
Mhm. Mhm.
um, but yeah, that was so
I
cool.
love
And
that.
yeah.
Well, and that's the thing with social media that I find to be so interesting is, yes, you're going to come across plenty of people that are not your people, right? Like that's inevitable. But when you come across the ones that are just like so super aligned with you, it's crazy how you're like, holy shit, I can't believe I didn't already know this person. And it's just sort of like it's just a fast friendship. Like you and I, we were in Messenger and we were immediately super, super familiar with each other as if we'd known each other forever. And we were sharing things like you would come into Messenger and tell me about your meditation that day, right? And you're like, I started crying.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
healing some really, really crazy shit from my past. And I just want to talk about it to somebody that gets it. And I'm like, yeah. And that's the thing about social media, which is so wild to me, is you can find those connections with people that are like on that same path and on that same journey with you. And maybe they're not in the same business, right? And that doesn't really matter, but you can still get
Absolutely.
so much out of that relationship no matter
Mhm.
what. Yeah. It's just the coolest thing.
Yes.
So I want to ask you because I mean, this is an ongoing experience for all of us, especially in entrepreneurship. Failure is like it goes with success. You cannot have success without failure, right? Like it's one and the same. They happen simultaneously sometimes. And a lot of times we don't recognize that the failure is actually an opportunity until after the fact. Right? We're smack dab in the middle of it and we're like, this sucks. I don't like it. But is there a moment for you along this journey, which obviously you're still on and you're still evolving and growing, but that you really felt like you were just ready to stop and just quit, but then you didn't? Like,
Yes. So um, there was a time probably between, August of last year and October where I was really had this like internal struggle. I'm like, I'm not feeling aligned with the company that I fell in love with and that got me into this, this industry of direct sales. And I just felt so pulled away from there. And I didn't know why. And I didn't know, I was trying to justify, like, well, I'm just going to really just fight through this. Maybe this is just like, peaks and valleys, and I'm just going to get
mhm,
through this and everything's going to be okay. Until I had another opportunity kind of fall into my lap out of nowhere. I wasn't really looking for it. And, um, but it was really what I needed. I needed that excitement, the fun. I needed leadership and direction. And because I want to grow and make this my full time
yeah,
thing. I want to be online full time and helping other women and make connections and build relationships with other like-minded women. And I can really see myself doing this here at Park Lane. I'm just
mhm,
so happy, and the systems are incredible. And it really shifted my mindset because when the opportunity presented itself, I was like, I was like, I don't know if I should do this or not. And then just everything just fell into place so smoothly. And I was like, I'm just going to have fun with this. And then I decided, I said, I'm just going to go all in. I'm kind of on the fence over here. I'm not feeling aligned in this business. So I am just going to give this everything I have and then decide after a month what I think. And I am at home here and I am absolutely loving every minute of our leadership. I mean, the vice president of our company literally gets on calls with me and we map out my goals, and she helps me every step of the way, and I've just never experienced that amount of support anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is, I think, so you make a really good point about you decided to just have fun with it. I think that's actually a really important factor that could probably be overlooked for quite a lot of people that have found success with maybe a company they're partnered with, or there's like this idea they had, and then now they have this whole business that's like around this idea. Honestly, it mimics a lot of me and my branding business. I was just having fun. Like I was just doing a thing that I liked to do. Right. And so I think with you getting into Park Lane, it was very similar to that, where it was like, I'm just going to have a really good time. And it's something that you kind of were craving for yourself, right? Not necessarily saying, I know other women want this. You were like, no, I need this. I need the support. I want to look and feel beautiful. This is something that I've been looking to, like a piece of the puzzle I've been looking to add into my own life. And I think that's honestly where a lot of success will derive from, is those really kind of one-off moments that you really aren't expecting to be so transformative, but then they are, because you don't place like these heavy expectations on them. So the way you show up is different, like, do you feel like, does that resonate with you?
Absolutely, 100%. Yep. I did not set any expectations for myself. I just went all in, and I just honestly thoroughly just started having fun around my launch party, around everything, and everything just, it was just like, a puzzle piece coming together. And I'm like, this was exactly what my soul needed and wanted. And sometimes I'm a God girl. Sometimes God just knows what you need. And, you just gotta walk through the door when it opens.
See, yes, that's exactly it. Opportunity presents itself so differently, like at all stages. And so sometimes you just never know. And I remember whenever because I myself tried my hand at the business that Anna's in, and I had a really good time for like 2 weeks. And then I decided this isn't a long-term thing for me, but I'm so glad that I did it, because I did it, I exposed other people to it, right? And they found their footing and their alignment with it. So that opportunity, it wasn't for me, it was for the people connected to me. And knowing that, like, there's no guilt around the fact that it's not for me, right? And so that's kind of how I feel with a lot of these MLM businesses. I will say yes, because you never know. Like, I buy almost all of my home goods from various MLM companies now, because for one, I want to support my friends. I'd rather do that than go shop at like these big box stores, right? And also, you never know what you're going to find. Once you've got your foot in the door and you're getting the discount and you're getting the support and you're having the conversations with people that are really building the businesses, you never know what you're going to find. And it's just like the coolest thing. So tell me, how are you, like, what's your day-to-day kind of business life look like with you balancing home, being a nurse, running your Park Lane business? And I know you're still doing your other businesses, kind of like, mixing them into all of it. But how has your day-to-day kind of shifted now that you've found this much more aligned work?
Well, typically day to day, I work my business in those free pockets that I have throughout my day, in either 5 to 10 minute spurts or, 30-minute spurts. And then sometimes, I'll work a little in the morning, a little in the evening. But really, the businesses align so much. It really hasn't affected me too much, because I just, I just do everything that I was doing with my other business. And now I'm just like, adding jewelry into it. So
Yeah.
it didn't really add any more to my plate.
Hmm.
As far as to-dos, in my opinion. And that, I mean, it's just, it's just natural. It's just been a natural like transition to this other business.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, I saw that for you whenever you were taking on the Park Lane business. I was like, wow, I really can see how this would be a very organic progression of what you're already doing with your work. And so I do think that that's an important um, kind of thing to note is if you're out there building a business and something's feeling just a little bit misaligned, like how Anna was saying with, her makeup business, she still loves it, but there was something she was missing, right? And so perhaps it was the leadership, perhaps it was the fun. Like sometimes you just fall out of fun, with your business because it just gets to be the grind. And so I love that you just you added in a whole nother stream of income without really having to add any more hours of work to your day.
Right.
Yeah. That's money right there. That's the goal.
Yes.
I love that. Okay. So because I'm in branding and I love to talk about these things, when you think about the brand that you've created, which I know that this is an ever evolving thing because when we first met, you were very focused on, the self-care and all of those things, which that is still very much part of your brand, but it's evolved a little bit, right? So when you think of the brand that you've created and that you are still creating, can you share a little bit like what that journey has been like for you, like personally and professionally?
Yeah. So, whenever I first got into this industry, I really had no idea what a brand was to begin with. I picked some pretty colors that I liked. I didn't think much past a brand, like superficially, right?
Mhm.
I just thought of it as, okay, this is just the face of me, but I did not really until I worked with you. Y'all, seriously, if you need branding help, Sarah is incredible. I don't know where I'd be without her right now. She's just so amazing. I have to share that because until I worked with you, I, I did not think past colors and like a pretty selfie. And
Right.
you really just gave me a different perspective about it. It's like you need to think, your brand needs to evoke the emotion you want others to feel. And it needs to really reflect your soul and your message. It's not just about, looking pretty. It's about evoking that feeling and like the message that you want to portray to
Mhm.
others. Um and I couldn't be more happy to know that now because I mean, I started at the most basic generic branding that there could probably ever be. And then, along with the business side of it, it actually made me take a deeper look into myself and really dig. And I'm still, like you said, it's still an ongoing journey. But it really does help you like dig deep into your heart and your soul and figure out, those values and those things that are important to you and, what message you really want to share. And, it's incredible. It's just part of another, part of your self-discovery journey as a businesswoman. And, my brand has progressed um, into help building relationships with like-minded women, helping them earn income, where it kind of just started as, hey, I'm a pretty face, buy my thing. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
evolved so much and it's been so fun digging in and really and figuring those things out about myself and then
Mhm.
also improving my business.
Yeah. Well, so you make a really fantastic point. Like, I think that is a huge misconception that people have about branding. It's something that I didn't fully understand from the get-go either. I had to learn it along the way. But your brand, it's not about manipulative marketing, right? And I think a lot of people think it is. They're like, how can I say this thing in a way that's going to make somebody buy it from me? And it's like that. that's so far from the actual goal for building a business, right? Like when you sell something to somebody, yes, of course, you make money from it, right? You should be paid for your time and your energy. But really, when you sell something to somebody, you're helping them solve a problem they have.
Yes.
So it's really about the service of it all.
Mhm.
And I didn't really get that in the beginning. I remember going through my own coaching program and being so stuck on why am I even showing up? Why am I even deciding to post every single day? Why am
Mhm.
I choosing to, put together this graphic that says XYZ? Like, what's the real reason behind this? And until I was able to really grasp that the brand is just a reflection of you, therefore drawing in the right kind of people that, are resonating with you on your same like vibrational wavelength, that's truly the purpose of the brand, right? It's to clear out the weeds and stop playing where's Waldo and like contributing to the noise of social media. I think it's
Absolutely.
really unfortunate how rampant like the copycat culture is with social
Mhm.
media because
Yes.
yeah, like right? You scroll and you're like everything looks the same. How
Yep.
boring.
Yep.
Yeah. So I love that you found your voice and also mentioning like in order to find your voice, it kind of took some hard work. It really wasn't about like I love green and I love pink. It's
Nope.
so much deeper than that, right? And yeah, I'm so honored that I was able to be part of that really, really kind of sticky, hard part of your journey because I think it's important for people to have the support um, and be there to ask questions and be like, hey,
Absolutely.
well, how do you really feel about this?
Right.
you know? But yeah, I think it's really fantastic. And I love that your brand is really it's allowed it's allowed you to fully embody like the Anna Henry of right now. Like
Mhm.
that's how I see it, and that's why I think it's cool that a brand is ever evolving
Mhm.
because who you were a year ago, totally different. You needed to focus on your own self-care. So your brand was a reflection of putting self-care at the forefront of everything. But now that you've healed that part of you, you've allowed your brand to sort of evolve and pivot into a space that supports other women because now you have the capacity to support other women, right? Because you
Yep.
healed yourself. So,
Exactly.
yeah, I think it's such a cool timeline to see, I
Mhm.
guess is the way that you could say it.
It is. It is so interesting. I will forever be grateful for being in this industry and being on the self-care journey that I'm on, self-discovery journey. And it's really brought me over the last probably 3 months. I have believed in myself even more than I ever had in the past. And I think that is so, so important. Whenever you're in this business, you really have to dig deep and find that belief in yourself and shut off all those negative voices that are coming in and saying, you're not good enough, you can't do this, because you can do this. You just have to learn how to shut them off and replace that with belief in yourself.
Right. That's exactly it. Like we all have these really negative, self-sabotaging thoughts and behaviors, like some more than others, obviously, but it's really about just learning how to experience it and then being like, okay, that's really not like serving me anymore. I'm going to
Exactly.
stop doing that.
It's a game changer. It is a game changer when you
Yeah.
can shift that.
Yeah. And really like removing a lot of the guilt when it comes to maybe not getting something done when it was on your to-do list. It's been on the to-do list for a week. You haven't gotten it done yet. Remove the guilt, right? Either it's important enough for you to do it or take it off the list, right? Like there is no room for guilt anymore. And that doesn't mean you don't take self-responsibility. It means that, right, you take ownership for something that maybe doesn't work or that you didn't do and then you move forward and like adjust. I have honestly, this is something I have to do almost daily, where I tell myself, like, I run through the list of the things that I did actually achieve for the day, and I kind of compare it to what was in my calendar. And more times than not, I do not complete everything that's in my calendar. Like, there's at least one thing that did not get done. And instead of being like, okay, let me just buckle down and get it done, especially with the work I do being on the creative side, I have to give myself permission to say, you know what, it's okay. It can happen tomorrow, or it can happen in 5 days. Like, what
Right.
is the urgency here? Is it me being a bully to myself,
Mm-hmm.
or is there really a tight timeline, right? There's a big difference. Yeah.
Yep.
So because entrepreneurship's always ever evolving, there's always something on the horizon, I feel like. And
Mm-hmm.
what's kind of coming up next for you when you look ahead, like the next 6 months? What is business looking like for you?
I really want to dive into more, things like this in my personal business, on my page, in my group, just doing like live collabs with other business women, and just adding more value to my network by doing that. And I am really I have a really big goal for myself, which I don't know if I'm going to hit it or not, but that's okay if I don't. No worries. But I would really love to be full time with Park Lane by August, no later than August. I'm really shooting for May of this year. But May to August. I'm going to say at least by August. That is my goal, is to be full time with them. Um, and I'm really excited to see what that's going to look like. It's
Yes.
scary.
Oh,
It's a goal that scares me. And that is where you grow, is when you get out of your comfort zone, you get scared. So that is,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, so have you started thinking about, like, um, what is my day or my week going to look like when I am 100% doing this business? Like, how are
Yes.
things going to feel?
Yeah. So I think it's going to feel like freedom, for
Yeah.
one. I'm not going to be tied down to anything. I'm going to make my own schedule and have my own routine. And I'm really excited about that part. And then, I am in the party planning business. So as right now, I'm doing 1 to 2 parties a week. I can see this escalating to doing 3 to 4
Yeah.
parties a week, plus some little pop-up events throughout the month. So a little bit more focused on my work, obviously, and doing more parties. So I think
Yes.
that is going to be a big difference.
Yeah. Well, and so that's kind of the thing too. When you think about, okay, I'm going to release a, a job that, like, you have no control over, right? How much time you have to spend there. I mean, yes, you have your schedule and whatnot, but it's not really your time. So when you think about
Right.
releasing that, and then now you have this expanded capacity for so much more that you can fill these gaps of your day with, it's crazy, right? And so that was something for me that I had to really face, like, am I actually comfortable and confident with having success? Because I can say all day long, I want to make $10,000 a month in my business or more, right? Like, I can say those things all day long, but does my nervous system believe it? Am I, like,
Yeah.
me as a human, do I have the capacity to bring in that much money, to have the amount of clients I need to have that much money, right?
Mm.
So those are things that, as you transition into going full time with these businesses, that I think can be so exciting, because those are parts of you that, like, for a lot of us, we haven't gotten the opportunity to explore. We've always been somebody else's employee, right?
Right. Yep.
Oh, I'm so pumped for you. And I love that you're on a journey to do more live collabs. Like, anybody listening to this right now, reach out to Anna, do some live collaborations, whether it's podcasting, whether it's just dual lives on Facebook or something of the sort. Like, it will catapult your growth as a businesswoman. 100%. Like, so I applaud you for really, really focusing on that. You're going to have the best time collaborating with people. Like,
I am
it's
excited about
really,
it. I've been dragging my feet way too long, but it's time to start it's time to start taking action and you can find me on Facebook, just Anna Lee Henry. I'm sure the link is going to be in the show notes. Is that right, Sarah?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to put a link to connect with Anna in the show notes. And obviously, if you're not watching the full episode, which now streams to Spotify, by the way, if, yeah, full video episodes stream to Spotify now. So it's not just the audio, which is really cool. You can watch the video on Spotify, but obviously it streams to YouTube and Facebook as well. But connect with Anna on Facebook. Like, she is such a beautiful soul. She's doing really fun work right now. And it's the type of work that, like, it can benefit you and it can benefit every other person in your family if you really, really look into it. And I'm just so excited to see the growth and like how you've really, like, there was some fear in the beginning when we first met each other. You had a lot of trepidation around like listening to yourself, trusting yourself.
Yes.
And to see that has really kind of like, you've sort of shed that old version of you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. And, you know, and the thing about it is, like, you have to really work when you're working through those things, like those roadblocks that you have inside that is stopping you from getting to that next level. It is a little messy, y'all. So get ready for that. I will just tell you it's messy, but it's so worth it. And, you know, a few months from then, you're not going to really remember the messy as much as you're going to look back and say, holy cow, look where I am now. Like, I'm so glad I did that.
Oh, 100%. I've actually, I sort of seek out the messy bits now. Like, I really don't, it's not necessarily I seek out, but I don't shy away from them anymore. Right.
Yeah.
Like, whenever something difficult kind of comes up, if I have an immediate reaction to it, that's like, I don't want to do that thing, I'll kind of stop and think, like, why am I feeling this way about this? And is it really true for me? Or am I just like trying to avoid something uncomfortable? And more times than not, it's me just avoiding. Self-sabotaging.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anna, I'm so honored to be able to have this conversation with you. And I will put everything in the show notes for everyone to connect with you on Facebook. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with as we sign off for today?
I just want to just say, like, it's never too late to start, no matter where you're at in your life. If you feel like that you're meant for more, you are, and you just follow your heart, follow your intuition, and just take that leap, take that chance on yourself. If there's something new that you want to start, I just encourage you to just go for it. You're not getting any younger, mama, for one, you know, but just do it, because you don't want to look back and another 5 or 10 years goes by and you didn't take the chance. And you're like, well, what if? You know, don't be that girl that's like, what if I would have done this? Or the guy, you know, whatever. You just, you totally can do this. And maybe you need to borrow somebody else's belief in yourself until you have your own, like many of us do. And that's okay. I just, you know, you never know in that 5 or 10 years when you know, say yes, you never know where you're going to be. You're going to look back and you're not going to have those regrets. And then maybe you're going to be like on the beach somewhere, or, you know, you're going to have your house paid off, or whatever, you know, you never know.
Yeah. Yeah. You're so right. You never know. And if I hadn't have done all the messy stuff, spent all the money I've spent in these last 3 years, like, honestly, I'd be in the exact same place I was for the last 10 years plus. I cannot believe, looking back, how unchanged and just flat my life was compared to these last 3 years where I've done really messy action. I've felt really uncomfortable. I've spent a lot of money, but also I've made a lot of money, and I've met a lot of incredible people, and I've learned so much more about myself than I ever could have imagined. And it's almost like coming back to yourself rather than learning something new. I don't know. That's how I feel about it, at least. But yeah. I think it's just really phenomenal to see you stepping into that place that used to be filled with so much fear. And now you can just you trust yourself and you have that intuitive kind of pull to say, yeah, this is the thing for me and I'm going to go fucking do it.
Yep, exactly.
I love it so much. All right, you guys, connect with Anna, and until next time, we'll see ya.
Okay.
Thank you so much for listening to Branded, the podcast. Please rate and review, and for more information, visit socialjanemedia.com. I'll see you soon.